So in this section, we'll discuss about organization unit or OU. So to understand what is organization unit, we will see the challenges in managing the users with user container. So guys, this is the user container, okay? And when we create any user, all the users will be created in user container. So when we create hundreds of users in a user container, all the users of different department will be mixed up. And it will be difficult for us to recognize which user belongs to which department. So in this example, if you see, we have so many users here: F1, F2, F3, F4, S1, S2, S3, S4, Satya Nadella, test, user 10, user 2. So it will be very difficult for us to recognize which user belongs to which department, and we can't count the users as well of a specific department. So it will be difficult for us to count the users of a specific department if we have hundreds of users in the user container. And it will be difficult to apply the policy to users of a specific department. Let us say you want to apply a policy on sales employees, okay, and the policy is sales employees should not change the wallpaper. So you will have to search the sales employees account first. Okay, in this example, we have S1, S2, S3, S4, and you will have to apply the policy on individual user. So here in this example, we have only 4 users, but in real networks, you have hundreds of users, and it will be very difficult for you to apply the policies on individual users. First, you need to identify the user, then we'll need to apply the policies to those users. Okay, so these are the challenges when you when you create the users in user container. Okay, so to overcome these mentioned difficulties, we use OU or organizational unit. So what is an organizational unit? It is a logical container that contains Active Directory objects, objects like users, groups, and sub OUs as well. And it is used for organizing and managing the Active Directory objects. So with the help of OUs, we can manage the users and groups, and it minimizes the administrative task. So in this example, if you see, we have created sales OU. Under this sales OU, we have created sales users S1, S2, S3, S4, and we have created the sales group, and we can create the sub OU as well. Okay, it is very helpful for you to manage the objects with organizational unit. So we use OU for better management, and we can classify the users based on department, role, etc. Like sales OU. Sales OU will have only the sales users, sales groups. Finance OU will have only the finance users and finance OUs. Managers OU. So you will add the manager accounts in the managers OU. So it will be very easy for us to recognize which user belongs to which department. It will be easy for us to count the users of a specific department if we have users in an OU container. And it will be easy to apply the policy to a specific department, like sales employees should not set the wallpaper. So you will go to the sales OU and you will apply the policy. This policy will be applied to all the users in the sales department. So how to create an OU? You will log on to the domain controller, then you will go to server manager. Under server manager, you will go to tools. Under tools, you will go to Active Directory and users. Okay, or what you can do, you can use this option shortcut dsa.msc. It will take you to Active Directory and users and computers option. It will take you to this page. Okay, so you will how to create the OU. So you will right click on domain, then you will select new, then you will select OU option. Then we'll provide the name to the container. So we'll provide the test. We'll provide the name as test. And if you see this option here, protect container from accidental deletion. If you check this option, it will protect this OU to be deleted accidentally. So to protect the container from accidental deletion, we need to check this option, protect container from accidental deletion, and we'll click OK, and test OU is created here. So we have created the OU, and let us see how to delete the OU. So steps, we will right click on this OU and we'll select this delete option, and it is saying that you don't have sufficient privileges to delete test, or this object is protected from accidental deletion. So guys, we have selected that option. That option is protecting this OU to be deleted accidentally. So we can't delete this OU with this method. So we need to follow another method. So OU will not be deleted because we have protected OU from accidental deletion, but we want to delete it. So how to delete? So we must uncheck that option. So to uncheck that option, we need to go to view and we'll select this advanced features. After selecting this advanced features, you will get this window again. So you will go to test OU, then you will go to properties, then you will go to objects. Under this objects, you will uncheck this option. So protect object from accidental deletion object, this option is unchecked. Then we'll click OK. Then guys, we can delete this test OU. So are you sure you want to delete OU? So we'll click yes, and OU will be deleted. So let us do this lab. So we'll go to server manager. Under server manager, we'll go to tools. Under tools, we have Active Directory users and computers option. So first we'll create the test OU, then we'll try to delete it. So we'll go to ms.com domain, right click, new, and we'll create organizational unit. And you can see this option is checked, protect container from accidental deletion. So we'll provide the name to this OU, then we'll click OK. Our test OU is created. Now we want to delete this test OU. So we'll right click on this OU and we'll select this delete option. It will not be deleted. Okay, are you sure you want to delete organizational unit named test? We'll say yes, but it will not allow you to delete it. So you don't have sufficient privileges to delete test, or this object is protected from accidental deletion. So this object is protected from accidental deletion. So, but we want to delete it. So we'll go to view. Under view, we'll go to advanced features option. Now we'll go to test OU, right click, properties, then we'll go to object and we'll uncheck this option, protect object from accidental deletion. Now we'll go to test OU, right click, then we can delete it. It is deleted. Okay, so we'll do some other labs. Now, our requirement is to create two OUs. One is for sales department, the other one is for finance department. So we'll create finance OU and sales OU. Then we'll create the users in the respective OU. So we'll go to sales OU and we'll create the users S1, S2, S3, and S4. Then we'll go to the finance OU and we'll create F1, F2, F3, and F4 users in the respective OUs and move. After that, what we will do, we will move the users from user container to finance OU. So some users are there which belong to finance department. So they were created before creating the OU. So now what we will do, we will move those users to finance department. So let us create two OUs first. So we'll go to ms.com, right click, new, OU, sales OU. Then we'll click OK. Under the sales OU, we'll create some users. Right click, new, user, S1, S1. Then we'll click next. Password never expires and the password is 123. Then we'll click next, finish. S1 is created. Let us create S2. We'll click next. Password is 123. Then we'll click next. S2 is created. Let us create S3. Next, 123, 123. Then we'll click next, finish. We'll create one more user, S4. Then we'll click next. Uncheck user must change the password at next logon. Then we'll select this password never expires option. Password is 123. 4 users have been created in sales OU. Then we'll create finance OU. So guys, in this sales OU, you can create the groups. Right click and sales group. You can create sub OU as well. Right click, new, then OU, sales sub OU. So it has created the sub OU as well. Let us create the finance OU. We'll go to ms.com, new, OU, finance OU. Then we'll click OK. Under this finance OU, will create some users. F1, F1. So in real networks, you will create hundreds of users. And for us, for our lab, 4 users are enough. Create F2. And click next. 1, 2, 3. Finish. Then F3. F3. Password never expires. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Then we'll click next. Finish. We'll create one more user. F4. F4. Password never expires. 123, then 123.
So
So
is there
guys,
any
so we have created the OUs and we have added the users. Now, let us say we have some users of finance OU in user container. Let us say they are Bill and Satya. So we want to move these users to finance department. So you will right click, then you will select this move option and you will select the finance OU. And if you go to finance OU, you will find the Bill Gates here. Okay, any user you want to move, you can right click, you will go to user container and let us say we want to move this Asif user to sales department. Sales OU. If you go to sales OU, you can see the Asif user here. So this is how you will move the users from one container to another container. So guys, in this section, we will discuss about delegation. So what is delegation? It is an Active Directory feature that allows domain administrators to grant users to control a portion of Active Directory environment. So by default, administrator will control the complete Active Directory. With the help of delegation, what we can do, we can allow some other administrators, junior administrators to use or control a portion of Active Directory environment. For example, in our organization, we have 3 administrators, Bill, Satya, and Jeff. And the domain administrator can allow Bill to manage the finance OU. Or Bill can manage only this finance OU. And Satya can manage sales OU. And Jeff, we can allow Jeff to manage the whole domain. So which makes administration decentralized. Previously, the administration was centralized. Centralized means only the administrator was managing the complete domain. Now, what we have done, we have decentralized the administration with the junior engineers. So, which tasks we can delegate to a user? So, users can create, delete, and manage the user accounts, and the users can reset the user password, force password change at next logon, read all the information, create, delete, and manage the groups, modify the membership of a group, manage group policy links, generate the resultant set of policies. Then our requirement is to delegate Bill to control the finance OU. Okay, Bill should control only finance OU. So he can't access the other OUs. So what he can do with finance OU, Bill can create, delete, and manage users, and Bill can create, delete, and manage groups. Then we need to perform this task. So we must perform the below 2 tasks to make the delegation work successfully. The first task is to delegate the control to a user. Okay, so what you will do, you will go to the OU and we will delegate the control. Let us say Bill can manage, Bill can create, delete, and manage users and groups. So we'll delegate the control to Bill. After that, we need to allow user to access the domain controller. So guys, we have delegated the control to users. So to manage this finance OU and sales OU, user has to log on to domain control. But by default, a normal user can't access the domain controller. So we need to provide the permission, okay, to these users to access the domain controller. So if you are delegating only the control and user is unable to log on to domain controller, which means there is no use of delegation here. So user should access the domain controller as well. So task 1 will delegate the control to the users. So how to delegate the control? So you will go to Active Directory users and computers. Then you will go to the finance OU. Right click and you will get the first option, delegate control. And here you will select add option. And we need to provide the username which is going to access or control the finance OU. So our requirement is this bill should control the finance OU. So we will type his name and his name is appearing here. Then we'll click next. And here we will delegate the following tasks. Like our requirement is to delegate this task, create, delete, and manage user accounts, and create, delete, and manage groups also. Okay, so we have selected these two tasks. Then we'll click next. Then we'll click finish. So we have delegated the task here, and we'll try to log on the domain controller with bill account. We'll get the below error. Bill doesn't have the administrator rights, so you will get this error because Bill doesn't have the administrator rights to access the domain controller. And the error is sign in method you are trying to use isn't allowed. For more information, contact your administrator. So we need to provide the access of this domain controller to the user as well. Then only he can manage the finance for you. So only the administrator can log on to domain controller. Now we will allow Bill to access the domain controller. Okay, so what we will do, we will go to group policy management on domain controller and we will allow Bill to log on locally. Locally in the sense he can log on to DC locally. So these are the steps configuring group policy management to allow Bill to log on locally. So these are the steps. You need to log on to DC as an administrator. Then you will go to server manager. Then we'll go to tools. Then group policy management. Then we'll go to forest. We'll expand forest. When expand domains, then we'll expand ms.com. Under this ms.com, we will expand this option, domain controllers. Okay, you should not select this domain controller policies. You need to expand domain controllers option, then you will get one policy here, domain default domain controller policy. We need to edit this policy, not this. Okay, right click here, then edit. After selecting this edit option, we'll go to computer configuration. We'll expand policies, then we'll expand Windows settings, and then we will expand security settings. Under security settings, we'll expand local policies, then we'll select the user rights assignment. You will get this window, and here you will select this option, allow log on locally. Then you will right click properties, allow log on locally, and here we will add bill. Okay, so bill, then we'll click OK. So we'll select this option here, add users or group. Then you will get this window. You will type the username or browse. You will get this window. Then you will type the user name here. Then we'll click OK. And bill is added here. And then we'll click OK. After that, what we will do, we will log out from the administrator and we'll log in with bill account. Then we will be able to manage this finance for you. So we'll create some users, we'll create some groups here in finance OU, and we'll try to access this sales OU as well. So you will not be allowed with bill user account to access the other OUs. So we'll do the verification. We'll create, delete the users in finance OU and sales OU. So only the finance OU is allowed. Sales OUs will not be allowed. So let us do this lab. We'll log on to the domain controller with administrator account. Okay, then we'll go to tools. So let us wait for a few seconds. Okay, then we'll go to Active Directory, users and computers. Okay, then we'll right click on Sales OU, and here we have this option, Delegate Control. We'll select this option, we'll click Next, and we'll add the user here, and the user is Bill, and we'll check names. We'll click OK. So user is added here. Then we'll click Next, and we need to give this permission, create, delete, and manage user accounts, create, delete, and manage the groups. Okay, so these two options are selected, create, delete, and manage user accounts, create, delete, and manage groups. Then we'll click Next. Finish. Then we'll go to Server Manager, Tools, Group Policy Management. Under this Group Policy Management, we'll expand Forest, Domains, and our domain is ms.com, and we'll not select this default domain policy, we'll select this option, Domain Controllers. Under this Domain Controllers, we have a default domain controller policy. Okay, then we'll select this option, Edit. Then we'll go to Computer Configuration, Policies, Windows Settings, and we'll select this Security Settings. Under the Security Settings, we'll go to Local Policies. Under this Local Policies, we'll go to Users, Rights, Assignment. Then we need to select Log On. Local option. Okay, let us allow log on locally, and then we'll double click on it, and here we don't have bill, so we need to add bill here. You can browse as well, browse, and you need to provide the username here, check names. Okay, okay, then you will apply. So we log out from the server. Okay, and we'll log in with bill account. We'll sign out from here. And we'll log in with bill account 1, 2, 3, 4, and the sign-in method you are trying isn't allowed. For more information, contact your administrator. So guys, we have already assigned, we have already allowed bill to access this server, but still it is not allowing because we have not updated the policy. So we need to update the policy. So we'll log on with administrator account. We'll wait for a few seconds. We'll make this server settle down. We'll type this command to update the group policy. It is updating the group policy. So computer policy update has successfully done, and we'll switch the user. We can sign out, we can switch the user as well. Bill 1 2 3 4. Now if you see, we are able to access this domain controller. So Bill is having the access. Now what we will do, we'll open the server manager. Bill 1 2 3 4. So after opening this server manager, we'll go to tools. Under tools, we'll go to Active Directory users and computers. We'll expand ms.com, and we are having this finance OU, sales OU. So first we'll go to finance OU and we'll create some users here. Right click and let us go to sales OU. Okay, I think this bill is having the sales OU permission. If you right click here, so we have provided the permission to access the sales OU. So we'll right click new, and you can see it can create users and groups. It doesn't have the other options. Let us create S5, S5, and then we'll provide the password 123, 123. Then we'll click next, then finish. We can see we are able to create the username here. If you want to delete, you can delete it. It is having full control on sales OU. Not full control. He can create the users. He can delete the users. He can create the groups and he can delete the groups as well. So let us create the group as well. Says group 2. We'll click OK, and we are able to create the group successfully, and we can delete the group as well. Bill is having permission to delete the groups as well. Okay, but if Bill wants to create any user and group in finance OU, he can't do it. If you right click here and it doesn't have any new option here. Whereas if you go to sales, you will find the new option here, and if you select this new option, he can create user and group. So this is how you will delegate the permission. So in this section, we will discuss about Active Directory structure. Active Directory structure consists of logical and physical structure. Physical structure consists of domain controller and sites. Domain controller is nothing but your server, and this is the physical server, you can touch it. And sites means the place where you install this domain controller. Okay, this is the physical structure. And logical structure consists of domain, trees, and forest. Okay, so domain ms.com is the part of logical structure, and it is having trees and forest as well. So we will see what is this tree and forest in our coming classes. So domain model has centralized management. So as we have discussed, domain model is a centralized management, and let us say user wants to log on to any client. The request will go to the domain controller, and domain controller will check its database, and it will see whether the user one is created or not. User 2 wants to log on to client 2. Again, he will provide its his credentials, and these credentials will be verified by the domain controller. If it is available, then only this user 2 can log on to client 2, and so on. So domain model has centralized management, and with workbook model, there is no centralized management. So all the users are created on the local clients. Okay. And guys, we have only one domain controller, which is 10.0.0.1 in our net environment. So if you have hundreds of users, okay, and all the hundreds of users are login with this one domain controller, so it will have the overload. This is the first problem, and there is a single point of failure. If this domain controller goes down, these users won't be able to log on to their computers. This is the first, these are the problems when you only have one domain controller. So what is the solution? To overcome these issues, we should add secondary domain controller. The secondary domain controller is the backup domain controller. So if you already have a domain controller in a domain, you can add the additional domain controller to the domain to improve the availability, reliability of network services. So let us say we have one domain controller and we have created one additional domain controller, ADC. Okay, so this additional domain controller, it will have the copy of domain controllers database. Okay, it will have like user 1, user 2, user 3, user 4. And if this domain controller goes down, these users are still can log on to their computers using this ADC. The request will first go to domain controller. If it is not available, then the request will go to the additional domain controller or backup domain controller. It will check whether these users are available in the database or not. So these users are available, so they can log on to their computers. This is the use of additional domain controller. So we can have secondary domain controller with any operating system, but the forest function level should match. So we have installed this domain controller on Windows Server 2022, and we are creating one ADC. Okay, so we can install this ADC on any operating system like Windows Server 2016. It will work, but you should make sure that the forest functional level should match. Okay, if this computer is having the forest function level 2016, this DC also should have the forest function level 2016. Then only we can create the additional domain controller. If the forest function level are not matching, so these two servers are not compatible with each other. Okay, so how to verify the forest function level of both the devices? You will go to ms.com, then you will go to properties. Okay, under this properties, you will see the domain function level and forest function level. Here in this example, it is 2008. So when you are creating the additional domain controller, the forest function level should be 2008 only. and we'll configure our member server as backup server. So guys, we have one member server and the IP address of that member server is 10.0.0.2, and we have already installed Windows Server 2022 on this member server. So what we will do, we will make this member server as additional domain control. So the name of that computer is server 2 and it is already in domain ms.com. Okay, so the current IP address of the member server is 10.0.0.2 and preferred DNS is 10.0.0.1. If you see here, the IP address of the member server is 10.0.0.2 and the preferred DNS is 10.0.0.1, and we want to make this server as ADC, additional domain controller. So we need to make some changes here. So if you want to make this server as domain controller, so the IP address will be same 10.0.0.2 and the preferred DNS it will be same 10.0.0.2 because we are going to install the Active Directory here. Okay, so the IP address and preferred DNS will be same here, and in the section in this field a DNS or alternate DNS, we will configure 10.0.0.1, which is the IP address of our domain controller. So primary domain controller doesn't have any alternate DNS. So if you see here, the primary domain controller IP address is 10.0.0.1 and preferred DNS is same 10.0.0.1, and it doesn't have the alternate DNS server IP address. So to configure the secondary domain controller, we should install the Active Directory and DNS. So let us say we have selected this server, which is 10.0.0.2. So to make it ADC, we need to install Active Directory and DNS. And we will give the existing domain name. So we are going to use ms.com only. Okay, so this will be the part of ms.com because this will be the additional domain controller. The primary server is called as domain controller. So this 10.0.0.1 domain controller, it is called as domain controller only. And the secondary server or backup server is called as additional domain controller or ADC. And the IP address of this ADC will be 10.0.0.2. So guys, the backup server is the copy of primary server. So let us say this is our backup server 10.0.0.2 and it is ADC and this is our DC. So it is the copy of our domain controller. So which means let us say you have created user 1 and this user 1 will be copied to ADC. So the backup server is the copy of the primary server. So when we create a user on domain controller, it will be updated to ADC and vice versa. Which means if you create any user like user 2 in ADC, it will be copied to the domain controller. And this replication type has read write permission. So guys, it should have read write permission, then only the replication will be done from DC to ADC, ADC to ADC. Replication means update. So read write permission should be there, then only the update will be done. And we have read only domain controller as well. Okay, so read only domain controller is also a backup domain controller, but has only read only permissions, and it is installed on different sites. So let us say guys, you have different sites and we have this domain controller 10.0.0.1 and you want to configure the additional domain controller. So it is in Hyderabad and you want to install this additional domain controller, let us say in Bangalore. And in Bangalore, you have a junior system administrator and you don't want to give him read-write permission. You don't want the Bangalore administrator should create the username and passwords in that server, in the ADC. So in this scenario, what you will do, you will create the backup domain controller, but you will give only read-only permission. Okay, so it is also a backup domain controller, but has read-only permission, and it is called as RODC, read-only domain controller. So all the usernames will be created in the domain controller, and it will be updated to the ADC, okay, or you can say RODC. It will be updated here, and if this domain controller goes down, these clients can still log on to their computers using this RODC. And guys, let us see the client configuration. So we have seen the IP address configuration on domain controller. We have seen the IP address configuration on additional domain controller. And how will you configure the workstations? How will you configure the computers, PCs? So let us say you want to configure the IP address as 10.0.0.10, and the preferred DNS will be 10.0.0.1. The IP address of the domain controller will be the preferred DNS, and alternate DNS will be the ADC IP address, which is 10.0.0.2. So the request will go to DC. So if this client one or the client two wants to log on to, the user two wants to log on to client two, the request will go to DC. If it is available, it will allow. If it is not available, then the request will go to ADC. ADC will allow this user to log on to client two. Okay, so if DC goes down, users can still log on to their client machines using ADC. And in case of no replications, let us say you have created some users like U1, U2, U3, it should be replicated, it should be updated to ADC. In case there is no updation, if there is no replications, you need to wait up to 180 minutes. Maximum you need to wait up to 180 minutes. So within this 180 minutes, it will update the users to ADC. Okay. Otherwise, you need to restart the computer for the update. So you should restart the computer, you should restart the server in non-working hours. Or you need to check the connection as well. Okay, whether the connectivity between DC and ADC is there or not. If it is there, you need to wait for 180 minutes. If it is not updated within this 180 minutes, you need to restart the server. Now, what we will do, we will install the ADC, then we will do the verification. So let us do this lab. So in this section, we will configure this member server, we will install, we will make this member server as additional domain controller. Okay, so let us verify the IP configuration of this server. We'll type ncpa.cpl. Ethernet 0, then properties. Then if you see here, the IP address of this member server is 10.0.0.2. Subnet mask is 255.0.0.0, and preferred DNS is 10.0.0.1. This is the IP address of our domain controller. Now we want to make this server to as additional domain controller, which means we need to install the Active Directory, and we need to install the DNS as well. So now the preferred DNS will be 10.0.0.2 because we are making this server as DNS server as well. So the IP address and preferred DNS will be same here. So let us change it to 2, and alternate DNS will be 10.0.0.1. And 10.0.0.1. Then we'll click OK. Okay, then close. and we'll do some verifications, like we'll go to the server manager, we'll go to tools, and we don't have any active directory services here because we have not installed the active directory. So there is no active directory service here, and we'll go to command prompt. If we type this net accounts, so it is a server. Okay, so let us make this server ADC. So we'll go to add roles and features. Then we'll click next, and the server name and IP address is correct. Then we'll click next, and we want to install the ADDS here, Active Directory, domain services. Then we'll add features. This option is checked. Then we'll click next, then we'll click install. So it will install the Active Directory. After installing this Active Directory, we need to promote this server as domain controller. So we will make this server as additional domain controller. We'll see how to make it additional domain controller. So it is installed. We'll close this window and we'll promote this server to a domain controller. So here we have three options. So we'll select the first option to make the server as domain controller. If you see here, add a domain controller to existing domain. So we already have an existing domain and we will add the server to this domain here. Okay. So we'll select the first option, then we'll click next, and the domain name is ms.com here, and it is having DNS checked and global catalog is also checked here. So you can uncheck. We'll see what is this global catalog, and we have one more option which is called as read only domain controller. So if you want to make this ADC as read only domain controller, you will select this option. So if you uncheck this option, it will get the read write permission. So we need to provide the DSRM password here. Let us provide NOA123 hash dollar, NOA123 hash dollar. Then we'll click next, next. Then we'll click next, next, next. It is verifying the prerequisites for domain controller operation. So all prerequisite checks passed successfully. So which means we can make this server as additional domain controller. Then we'll click install. It will restart the server now. So let us log on to this server. So we'll change the name to ADC before login. Let us verify the things. We'll go to tools and you can see it is having the Active Directory services, Active Directory Administrative Center, Active Directory Domains and Trust, etc. Then we'll go to the command prompt. Then we'll type this command, net accounts. And if you see for ADC, you will get backup here. Previously it was showing server, which means it was a member server. Now it is a backup server. Backup means additional domain controller. For domain controller, you will get primary. Net accounts, and if you see the domain controller, how will you identify whether the device is a domain controller or additional domain controller? If it is a domain controller, you will get primary here. If it is an additional domain controller, you will get backup, and if it is a member server, you will get server. So this is the backup server, and what we will do, we'll access the Active Directory users and computers. In ADC, we'll go to tools, then Active Directory users and computers, and we'll verify whether it is updated or not. So if you see here, we are at ADC and it is having finance OU, which are created on domain controller, sales OU, then user. So what we will do now, we'll create one OU here. And we'll provide any meaningful name according to our lab. So OU created on ADC. Then we'll click OK and we'll create two users like ADC user 1, ADC user 1. Then we'll click next and we'll provide the password 123 123. Then we'll click next, finish. Okay, so we have created OU and we have created one user. Now we'll go to server 1 and we'll see whether it is updated or not. So let us search for that OU. It is domain controller, finance OU, sales OU. So OU is not updated yet. We'll wait for a few seconds. We'll open the server manager. Then we'll go to tools and Active Directory users and computers. And it is not updated. If it is not updated, we need to wait for maximum 180 seconds. Okay. And after 180 seconds, we can restart. We can restart now itself, but we'll wait for the update to be done. So you create it. So let us restart. So they will get synchronized. Before restarting, we'll see the IP address. So if you see the IP address here, 10.0.0.1, and alternate DNS is, sorry, it should be, where are we? Where we are at what? Okay, we'll go to this server, ncpa.cpl, properties, 10.0.0.2, preferred DNS is 10.0.0.2. We'll go to the server, we'll go to DC, and we'll configure DNS as 10.0.0.1. Then we'll click OK. And we'll go to server manager. Then we'll go to Active Directory and users, Active Directory users and computers. Now you can see we are getting the OU created on ADC with ADC user. So let us create one more OU here. OU created on DC. Okay, we'll go to ADC. Then under this OU created on ADC, we should have sub OU here. We have discussed Active Directory is having physical structure and logical structure. Under physical structure, it is having domain controller, alternate domain controller, and site. And in logical, we have domain like ms.com, and it is having tree as well. Let us try to understand what is this tree. So guys, tree, it is a set of one or more domains with a contiguous name. Let us try to understand the meaning of this sentence. So you have one domain ms.com. This is your website. This is your domain ms.com. And guys, you have one branch office somewhere in US, and you want to create a separate domain for that branch office, but it should be the part of ms.com. So like you want to create mcsc domain, but it should be the part of ms.com. So mcsc.com, if you create, it will be a separate domain. So what you will do, you will create the domain like this, mcsc.ms.com. It is a separate domain, but it is the part of ms.com. Okay, so you can see it is a set of one or more domains with contiguous name. Contiguous name is mcsc.ms.com, like this. If you want to create one more subdomain like Azure under mcsc.com, so you will create azure.mcsc.ms.com. So Azure is the subdomain of mcsc.ms.com. mcsc.ms.com is the subdomain of ms.com. Okay, so we already have created ms.com domain. Let us say for a new branch, our requirement is to create a new domain, mcsc.com, but it should work under ms.com domain. So ms.com and mcsc.com are two different domains, but our is a requirement. Our requirement is to create a subdomain under ms.com domain. So the new domain will be mcsc.ms.com. Okay, so you are not going to create mcsc.com separately because our requirement is to create a domain under ms.com. So it will be like this, mcsc.ms.com. So guys, if more than one domain exists, you can combine the multiple domains into hierarchical tree structure. Okay, like this. Let us take the example of Google. So Google is having google.com. They are having the drive, docs and forms. And Google has created this hierarchy, drive.google.com. They have created a domain under this google.com. Again, they have created one more domain, docs.google.com, forms.google.com. Okay. So this is how you are going to create the subdomains. So MCSC is a subdomain of ms.com. So this MCSC is the subdomain of ms.com, and it will have its own active directory. So you will create this domain. It will be the part of ms.com, but this server will have its own active directory. It is not going to use the active directory of ms.com, and users will be created in the mcsc directory, not in the ms.com directory. So it is having its own directory, and it will create the users in its own active directory, not in the ms.com directory. And we can manage mcsc domain from ms.com domain, like creating the policy, but we can manage this mcsc.ms.com from ms.com, from the primary domain, from the parent domain, like creating the policy. We can create the policy for mcsc.ms.com from ms.com. We can create a subdomain of child domain. So guys, it is this mcsc.ms.com is called as child domain of this ms.com. ms.com is called as parent domain. mcsc.ms.com is called as child domain, and we can create a subdomain of this child domain as well. Okay, we can create a subdomain of child domain like azure.mcsc.ms.com, azure.mcsc.ms.com, and it is called as grandchild. It is the grandchild of this ms.com. So guys, Azure information is available in mcsc domain. This Azure, okay, it is the child domain of this mcsc.com. So it is having the information in mcsc, and mcsc and Azure information is available in ms.com. So mcsc and Azure information is available in ms.com in the parent domain. So the first domain created is the root domain. So this is the root domain. It is called as parent domain and it is also called as root domain of the first tree. This is the tree. Okay. You can see the hierarchy. It is called as tree. So the first domain in the tree is called as root domain. And the other domains in the same domain tree are called as child domain. So guys, it is forming the tree here. If you see, this is the root and they are the branches, you can say. And this root is called as parent domain or root domain, and the branches they are called as child domain and grandchild domain. So a domain immediately above another domain is called as parent domain. So this domain, it is immediately above mcsc.ms.com. So this is the parent domain. Should be in the same domain. And we'll see this lab. Okay, our requirement is to create a child domain mcsc in the ms.com domain. So we'll create this child domain under this ms.com domain. This is our requirement. So the prerequisite is you should create a virtual machine. Okay, which means you should have the server, and we will install the Windows operating system on that virtual machine with VM tools. Okay, then we'll configure the IP address. So let us say we have created a virtual machine, we have installed the operating system on that virtual machine, we have installed the VMware tools. We need to configure the IP address. So how the IP address will be? So we'll configure the IP address from same network. So 10.0.0.1 is the DC and ADC is 10.0.0.2. So we'll configure 10.0.0.3 to this child domain, and PDNS will be same. Okay, because we are going to configure the domain here. So the IP address and PDNS of the domain will be same. 10.0.0.3 and preferred DNS is 10.0.0.3 and ADNS will be the domain controller IP address. And we will join the server to domain. Then after that we'll create the child domain. So guys, it required a lot of time to create the server, to create the virtual machine, install the operating system. So what I will do it, I will make the things ready and we'll see the lab. Going to do the lab. So our requirement is to create a child domain mcsc.com mcsc in ms.com domain. This is our requirement. Our ms.com is already there. Now we need to create this child domain mcsc.ms.com. So guys, we'll go as per the lab. So the IP address will configure is 10.0.0.10. So we will configure this IP address on this server 10.0.0.10 and preferred DNS will be same, because we are going to install the Active Directory and it will be the domain controller. Okay. So IP address and preferred DNS will be same, and ADNS will be the IP address of this ms.com. And so the lab prerequisite, we need to create a virtual machine. So in our lab, we are creating the virtual machine, or you may have the physical machine. So you should have the physical server in real environment. If your environment is using the virtual network, so virtual server, so you will create the virtual machine. And we need to, after creating the virtual machine, we need to install the server operating system and VM tools. So we have already created, okay, this virtual machine, server 3, and we have installed the Windows operating system, Windows Server 2022. And we have already installed the VMware tools as well. Okay, so install Windows Server operating system and VM tools. Configure the IP address. So guys, we'll configure the IP address 10. 0.0.10 and preferred DNS will be 10.0.0.10 and ADNS will be 1, 10.0.0.1. Okay, so configure the IP address, subnet mask, PDNS and ADNS. ADNS should be primary DC, not the backup DC. Guys, yesterday we have created the additional domain controller. So we are not going to assign the IP address of additional domain controller. We need to provide the IP address of this primary domain controller in ADNS. Okay, PDNS, it will be same as this IP address, and ADNS will be the primary domain controller, this one, not the additional domain controller. And we need to join the server to domain. So after installing the operating system, after installing the tools, after configuring the IP addresses, we need to join the server to domain. Okay, let us see whether it is joined or not. If it is not joined, we will join it. So if you see, this is a virtual machine. On this virtual machine, we have installed this Windows Server operating system, Windows Server 2022. And we have installed the tools as well, so screen is looking good. And guys, let us see the IP address of this server. We'll wait for a few seconds. So it takes few seconds to settle down the server after login. So the IP address is if you see, the IP address is 10.0.0.10. Subnet mask is 255.0.0.0. And the PDNS will be same as IP address, and ADNS will be the domain controller IP address, not the ADC IP address. Ten dot 0.0.1. We'll click OK. Everything is fine. We'll click OK. OK. And let us verify this server is the part of domain or not. How to verify? You will go to this PC, right click, properties. So guys, if you see, it is a part of domain. You go to advanced settings, computer name. Under this computer name, you will see. So it is a part of domain controller. Okay. So it is a part of ms.com domain. So guys, you know how to join the domain. Okay. So this server is the part of domain. So we need to join the server to the domain. And what we will do, we will make this server as child domain. So we need to install the ADDS and DNS. So when you install the ADDS, DNS will be installed. Okay, and we need to provide the subdomain name MCSE here. Okay, you will select this option, add a domain to existing forest. Okay, first option, the last option is to create the new forest. So we already have the forest. Okay, and we have created ms.com. And the first option is to configure the ADC, additional domain controller. Now we are adding the new domain to the existing forest. We are adding MCSC domain here. So we'll select the second option, and here we'll select child domain, and we'll give the parent domain name ms.com and new domain name MCSC. You will give only MCSC without any extension, okay, without .com. And we'll verify the computer name, we'll verify the domain, okay. So domain name should be mcsc.ms.com. And if you type net accounts, you will see primary. Okay, this is the primary domain controller. And it is not a backup, right? So if it is not a backup means it is a primary domain controller. Then we'll create the users in child domain. So let us make this server as child domain. So we'll go to server manager, add rules and features. Then we'll click next. Next. The IP address is same, which we have configured. We'll click next, and we'll configure Active Directory domain services. Then we'll add features. This option is checked now. We'll click next, next, next. Then if you select this option, restart the destination server automatically if required. So it will restart the server automatically. We don't need to restart it manually. Then we'll click install. So we'll wait for a few minutes to this installation to be done. So the installation is completed. So guys, the installation is succeeded. After the installation, we need to promote this server to domain controller. So you will go to notification option, then you will select this option. Promote this server to a domain controller. And here we are not creating a backup domain controller, okay, and we are not creating a new forest. We are adding a new domain to existing forest, okay. So child domain, it is a child domain, and you have some other option as well, tree domain. So we'll go with child domain. We'll see what is this tree domain as well. Then the parent domain, it has already taken by default ms.com, and the new domain name will give mcsc without any extension. Then we'll click next. Could not log on. Okay, so we need to provide the credential as well. Okay, so change the credential here, and we'll provide the credential of domain administrator. Let us click next. Okay, so it has accepted the password. Now guys, we see DNS is checked and global catalog is also checked. We can uncheck this global catalog. We'll see what is the use of this global catalog in our advanced classes. So as of now, we'll go with the default settings and we'll provide the password, DSRM password, and we'll click next. Next. And the NetBIOS domain name will be MCSC. Then we'll click next. So these are the folders where it will save the database, log files, and sysvol. Let us click next. And this is the review. Okay, so looks good. And we'll click next. And it is verifying the prerequisites for domain controller operations. So all prerequisite checks passed successfully. Click install to begin the installation. So we'll click installation. Quickly we'll click install to begin the installation. So it is checking the forest upgrade status. Waiting for DNS installation. So as we have discussed, it will install the DNS as well. So it is installing the DNS and it will install the other services as well. We will wait for a few seconds. So it will restart the server now. So let us log on to this child domain server. We'll make this server to get settled down. We'll wait for a few seconds. If you see, it is having this Active Directory, services, and we'll go to command prompt and we'll type net accounts. So it is showing it is a primary server. Okay, it is not a backup server. So which means it is a primary server. Okay, guys, now what we will do, we'll create the user in MCSC domain and let us verify the domain name. We'll go to this PC, right click, and we'll go to advanced setting and we'll go to computer name. And if you see here, what is the domain name? mcsc.ms.com. Okay, and the full computer name, fully qualified name is server03.mcsc.ms.com. Okay, and we'll create the user. We'll go to Active Directory users and computers. We'll go to users, right click, new users. So first name, let us give MCSE user1, user1, and we'll click next. And password MCSE123 hash dollar, MCSE123 hash dollar. Then we'll click next, then finish. Okay, guys. So we have created this user, and using this user, you can log on to the mcsc.com computers as well. So we have this workstation. It is a part of ms.com. So you can log on to this computer, but you need to provide the name like this. Let me show you. Where is my pen? Yeah. So like, what is the username? MCSE user1 @mcsc.ms.com. You need to provide the domain. So guys, let us see what is forest. We have already discussed tree. Okay. In tree, you will have the parent domain, then you will have child domain, then you will have grandchild domain. So this is the example of tree. Let us try to understand what is forest. Forest is a set of multiple trees. So you will have multiple trees. Okay, you can see we have one tree here and we have one more tree, and it is a combination of multiple trees. So it is a set of multiple domain trees within a single forest, but do not form the contiguous space. Let us try to understand what is the meaning do not form the contiguous space. So let us say our requirement is to create a new separate domain. You have a new branch. Okay, let us say the new branch is in Chennai, and you want to create a separate domain for Chennai, and the branch is www. You want to create the domain www.mysql.com, but it should not be a part of ms.com. Okay, you want to create a domain, but it should not be a contiguous name. It should not be like this, mysql.ms.com. We need a separate domain. like this, www.mysql.com. Okay, so our requirement is to create a new separate domain, www.mysql.com, but should be a part of ms.com. Okay, it should be a part of ms.com, but it should not be under ms.com. Okay, it should be a separate name. So it should be a part of ms.com, and it is called as NDEF, new domain tree in existing forest. It means it is working ms.com, but it is not following its name. Okay, new domain tree in existing forest. It is this mysql.com. It is called as NDEF, and it is not a child domain of ms.com. It is a part of ms.com. It is not following the ms.com name. Okay, and it is not a child domain. So although trees in a forest don't share the namespace, so it is not sharing the namespace. A forest will have a single root domain called a forest root domain. So it is not following the ms.com, but the complete forest will have only one forest root domain. And this is the forest root domain, ms.com. This is the first domain controller in our network. So it will be called as forest root domain. We have only one single root domain, and that is called as forest root domain. And guys, the forest root domain, okay, this is the forest root domain, has two predefined groups in Active Directory. These are the two groups, enterprise admin and schema admin. Okay, these groups will be there only in the forest root domain. And in our case, the forest root domain is ms.com. Let us verify enterprise admin and schema admin groups. We'll go to ms.com. We'll go to tools, Active Directory users and computers. And you will see those two groups, enterprise admin and schema admins. So these two groups will be there in the root forest domain, forest root domain. And this forest root domain is the first domain created in the forest. So, okay, this is the first domain which is created in the forest, and it is called as forest root domain. And we can create policies from root domain for other domains. So in this example, we have ms.com, and the child domains are mcsc.ms.com, sgo.mcsc.ms.com, and we have ndef domain, okay, mysql.com. Under this mysql.com, you can create the child domain sales.mysql.com. Okay, so from this forest root domain, we can create the policies for other domains. Okay, so we can create subdomain like sales.mssql.com under sql.com, mysql.com. So guys, here we have two trees. It is tree 1 and mysql.com, sales.mysql.com. They are forming the other tree here. It is tree 2, and the collection of trees is called a forest. Okay, the link is there between ms.com and mysql.com, and collection of trees is called as forest. So guys, in this example, we have 5 domains. Okay, 1 ms.com, mcsc.ms, ms.com, seo.mcsc.ms.com. 3, and the fourth domain is mysql.com, and fifth domain is sales.mysql.com. So we have 5 domains and we have 2 trees, tree 1, tree 2, and 1 forest. Okay, combination of trees is called as forest, and forest root domain is ms.com. This is the forest root domain. Let us move forward, and our requirement is to create an new domain tree in existing forest by the name mysql.com. Okay, so this is our tree here, and we need to create ndef now by the name mysql.com. So it is not going to follow the name of our main domain. It is a separate domain, but it will be the part of our domain. It is like the example of this ndef, you can say we have microsoft.com. Okay, and we have skype.com. Okay, so this microsoft.com is the parent domain, and skype.com, you can say it is ndf. It is not following the name of the parent domain, but it is they belong to the same company. So again, we need to create a virtual machine for ndef. Okay, then we need to install the Windows Server operating system and VM tools. Then we'll configure the IP address. So we'll configure the IP address 10.0.0.20, or you can configure 10.0.0.11. We'll go with 10.0.0.20. Let us go with 20. Okay, but it should be the part of same network. Okay, and the PDNS will be same, 10.0.0.20, and ADNS will be 10.0.0.1. And we need to join the server to the domain. After joining the server, we need to select this option. So we will install the ADDS, then we will promote the server to DC. So you will select the second option. Under the second option, add a new domain to existing forest. Under this option, you will select tree domain. Okay, then we'll verify the domain should be mysql.com, and the net accounts, it should be primary. Okay, and we'll create the username and password. We'll create a user account in ndf. Okay, so we have already created one server. We have already created one virtual machine. We have installed the operating system. Okay, this is server 4, and we have created this virtual machine for ndf for mysql.com. We have installed the operating system as well, and we have installed VM tools as well. Let us verify, okay, whether it is installed or not. If it is not installed, we'll install it, but the operating system is installed. So let us shut down this MCSC server. We don't need this server now.
Sir, can we create the NDEF and this MCSE child domain servers backup in a same system, in a single system,
No. We need
separate system?
a separate system. It can be a separate virtual machine or it can be a separate physical server.
Okay,
Okay. So guys,
thank you.
we have only the operating system is installed. Okay, let us log on. SP123 installer. Installer. Let us log on to this server and we'll install the VM tools. So how to install the VM tools? You will go to VM, install VM tools. So VM tools, it will install the drivers. Okay. Let us set up the icons as well. Settings. We'll go to personalization. Themes. Desktop icon settings. Set up the icons. Close it. Close everything. First we'll install the VM tools. And meantime, we'll change the server name. You will right click on this PC, properties. You can rename the PC from here. We'll give server port, the name of the server. Next. And we'll start Radar because VM tools are getting installed. So we'll wait for VM tools to be installed. So VMware tools are installed, we'll click finish, then we'll restart the computer. Then we'll configure the IP address, then we'll install ADDS. We'll join the domain. We need to join the server to the domain. Then we'll install ADDS. So what is the IP address we had decided? 10.0.0.20. Let us configure the IP address. We'll wait for a few seconds. We'll go to the network adapter properties, IP version 4, 10.0.0.20. And what should be the preferred DNS?
Same.
Same.
MSI bit.
10.0.0.20. And ADNS?
DNS should be domain controller.
10.0.0.1, correct?
Yes.
Very good. So we have configured the IP address. Guys, please help me out to join the domain. How to join the domain? Anyone?
Right click on this PC
Very good. Then
and properties.
properties. Then
Then advanced system setting.
advanced system settings. Very good. Then
Computer name.
computer name,
Change
change settings. Very good.
domain names.
Domain. Very good. Then ms.com. Okay, whatever the domain name we need to provide here, ms.com. We need to provide the ms.com administrator username password. Okay, so @ms.com, the password is 123. Then we'll click OK. So welcome to the ms.com domain, which means it has joined the domain. We'll click OK. It required restart. We'll close it and we'll restart. Then we'll install the ADDS. Let us log into the server. We'll wait for a few seconds, then we'll install ADDS. So guys, how to install ADDS?
Roles and features.
Add roles and features, very good. Then we'll click next,
Yes.
next. The IP address is correct. Server name is
Yes.
also correct. We'll click next. Then here,
Here we need to select Active Directory Domain Services.
okay, Active Directory Domain Services. Then
Add feature. Add
add
feature.
features. Then
Next.
next, next, next. Then
We need to
install.
yeah.
Okay, it is not a mandatory. Okay.
Okay.
It is installed now. We'll close it. What should we do now? What should be our next step?
We need to click on the notification
Notification.
and promote this server to the domain controller.
Very good. Promote this server to a domain controller. And which option we should select now?
We need to select on the second option.
Very good. What is this first option or third option?
That is for the new forest.
Very good. What is this first option?
That is for the ADS.
Very good. ADC. And the
ADC.
second option? Here we are not creating a child domain, correct?
Yes. We need to select the tree domain.
Tree domain. And the forest name is
The
ms.com.
same
And
only.
new domain name
NDEF.
mysql.com.
MySQL.
mysql.com. Then we'll click next.
Yes.
Again, we need to provide the
For the
credentials.
credentials.
Then we'll click OK. We'll click next. Could not log on to domain as with the specified credential supply. Okay, what is the problem? We'll try to troubleshoot this issue. Okay, servers, domain controllers are available. Promote this server to domain controller. New domain,
Yes. SQL.
mysql.com. Then we'll click next. Okay, here we need to change the credentials. Guys, spelling is correct. Administrator. Okay.
Yes.
Let us click OK. And click next. Okay, so we'll wait for a few seconds. All right. It was giving that error unnecessarily. Now we'll provide DSRM password. Then we'll click next. A delegation for this DNS server cannot be created. So it required DNS, so we'll click next. And the NetBIOS domain name will be mysql without extension. Then we'll click next. We'll click next. Next. Okay, so all the prerequisite checks passed successfully. We'll install it. Hmm. Okay, let us log on to this server and we'll do the verification. We'll wait for few seconds. Okay, let us verify the domain name first. If you see, the domain name is mysql.com, and we'll go to command prompt. Net accounts. So it is the primary domain controller. It is not the backup domain controller. So if it is not a backup, means it is a primary domain controller. And we'll create one username. We'll go to Active Directory users and computers. You can see the domain is mysql.com. Users. Under this user, we'll create MySQL user. Then we'll click next. Password never expires. Then we'll click next. Finish. User is created. So this is how you will create the NDA. Okay, guys, any doubt till here? Active Directory is a Microsoft operating system role. So if you see, when you install the Active Directory, you will select this option, add roles and features, and you will get this feature, Active Directory domain services. So it is a role in in Microsoft Windows Server. So guys, it is a role, and we configure DCs, ADCs, trees, forest using Active Directory. If you don't have Active Directory, you can't configure the domain controller, additional domain controller, you can't configure the tree, you can't configure the forest. And the domain contains domain controller and additional domain controller and clients. So this is our domain, ms.com, and it is having domain controller, additional domain controller, and it is having some clients. And we have installed these things, domain controller and additional domain controller, using Active Directory only. And guys, tree contains domains and subdomains. This is our tree, and it contains domains. This is the domain, and these are the subdomains. Okay, so combination of domain and subdomains is called as tree, and we can configure with the help of Active Directory. And the forest contain trees. So we have two trees in this example, and combination of these two trees is called as forest. So guys, Active Directory has 6 sub roles, okay, and they are called as operating masters. So the first role is called as naming master, The second role is called as schema master. Third role is RID master. Fourth role is PDC emulator. Fifth role is infrastructure master, and sixth role is global catalog. RID stands for relative identifier. PDC stands for primary domain controller. So these are the 6 rows, okay, of the Active Directory. So naming master, schema master, RID master, PDC emulator, infrastructure master, these 5 rows are called as FSMO rows. So the first 5 rows are combined and named as flexible single master operation role, which is also called as FSMO rows. The first 5 rows, they are called as FSMO rows. And single master means these rows will be installed only on master server. These 5 rows, okay, FSMO rows, they will be installed on the domain controller. Okay, that is DC. And flexible means rows can be transferred from DC to ADC. So these 5 rows, these FSMO rows are there in domain controller, and they can be transferred to the other server. Okay. So here in this full form, you can see single master. Single master means rows will be installed only on master server, only on the domain controller. And in this full form, it is having these roles as well, operation roles. Yeah, flexible. Here we have flexible. So flexible means roles can be transferred from domain controller to additional domain controller. We will see why to transfer the rows from domain controller to additional domain controller. And this catalog, we have one more service, the 6th service. It is called as global catalog. It is called as multi-master operation roles. Multi-master operation roles can be installed on multiple domains. Multi-master means these roles can be installed on multiple domains. Okay, we have multiple domains in our network. Okay, so this global catalog, it can be installed on the main domain ms.com. It can be installed on the child domains. It can be installed on NDEF. Okay, it is not compulsory that it will be installed only on the domain controller. It will be installed on all the domains. Let us see the first role. What is the use of this first role? Naming master. This naming master checks the uniqueness of domain name in the forest, which means when we install the domain controller, it will ask for a name. So we have given ms.com, the domain name. Okay, so this naming master will check whether this ms.com is unique name or not. If it is not unique name, it will give you the error. Okay, you can't have 2 domain with same name. So who is verifying the uniqueness of the domain names? It is done by the naming master role. And domain should be unique like Gmail. Okay, so we have only one gmail.com all over the world. You can't have one more gmail.com. And it is also responsible, this naming master is also responsible for adding, removing, and renaming the domains in the forest. And we have second role, schema master. This schema master is a set of rules which is used to define the structure of Active Directory. So guys, the complete structure of Active Directory is defined in schema master. What is the meaning of structure? Let us try to understand. So Active Directory structure is designed by schema. For example, while creating a new user, which window should open? Okay, we are creating this user. We want to create a new user. You will go to this user container, then you will right click. Okay, so it will give you one drop down list. Okay, it is mentioned in the schema master. If you right click, what should happen? Then you will click new. again you will get one new drop down list. Okay, so this drop down list windows are mentioned in this schema master. Then you will select user. So when you select user, this window should open. So these thing mentioned in the schema master. And while creating a group, which window should open? So we want to create a group. So you will right click on the user container, then you will select new, then you will select group, then this window will be opened. Okay, all these things are mentioned in the schema master. So while promoting a server to domain controller, which window should be opened, etc. And what schema master contains? Okay, so the schema master contains the definition of all the objects which are stored in Active Directory. Objects means users, groups, OU. So it contains the definitions of all the objects which are stored in Active Directory. Okay, so schema is further classified into classes and attributes. Class is a template that is used to create an object. So schema is having class. Class is a template, okay, which is used to create the object. So this class is used to create the users, okay, users, groups, computers, and printers. So when you open the user container, okay, so you will get the window to create the user. So it is called as object, and object is the template. Okay, so under object we have groups, computers, and printers. And attributes is nothing but the properties of users. Let me show you. So guys, schema contains classes. Classes are nothing but the objects, and we have multiple objects, users, groups, computers, and printers. Okay, and these objects have properties. Okay, they are called as attributes, and properties contains username, phone number, address, profile part, logon hours, etc. Okay, so this is the object. This is the class, we can say. Under the class we have object, and object is having properties. Okay, if you click this properties, so it is, you will see these attributes, you will see these properties: general, address, accounts, profile, telephone, organization, member of. So these are the properties of this object. Okay, guys. So this schema is further classified into classes and attributes. Class is a template that is used to create an object, and attributes are properties of an object. And naming master and schema master are forest wide roles. If we have forest in domain, these two rows are installed in the root forest only. So you will find these two rows in this ms.com. You will find it in forest, root forest. Okay. And guys, RID master, PDCU emulator, infrastructure master are domain wide rows. So you will find these three rows in all the domains. So these three roles are available on every domain in the forest. And let us see what is RID master. RID master, it assigns a unique ID to object. So it will assign one unique ID to users, groups, computers, OUs, etc. Why it is providing the unique ID? To avoid the duplication. So let us say we can't create two user accounts with the same name. So we have one user Bill. Again, you can't create the same username, same account. Okay. Who is avoiding this duplication? This RID master, by providing the unique ID to each object. And we can't create two groups with the same name. So RID master, it provides a unique ID, and unique ID is called as SID. SID stands for security ID. And this security ID is the combination of domain ID and relative ID. Okay, guys, so let us try to understand what is this domain ID and relative ID. So it provides a security ID, and it is a combination of domain ID and relative ID. So guys, if you run this command, you will go to command prompt and you will run this command: WMIC user account get name and SID. SID means security ID. When you type this command, when you enter, you will get this output. And as I told you, you will get the SID. So SID is the combination of domain ID and relative ID. So you will get the list of users here, like administrator, guest, Bill, Satya, user 2, Jeff, Sundar, S1, S2, S3, S4, F2, F3, F4, S5. These are the users created in ms.com domain. So these are the users of same domain, which means till here it is a domain ID. If you see, all the users are having the same domain ID, and the last section, this one, it is the relative ID. A relative ID will be unique. So domain ID plus relative ID. Domain ID will be same because all these users are the part of same domain, ms.com. So ms.com will have the same ID, and relative ID is the unique ID will be provided to each object. Let me show you. Let us run this command. So we'll copy this command. And we'll run this command on the server. So it is collecting the information and it will give you the output. So it is the combination of domain ID and relative ID. Domain ID plus relative ID is called as security ID. Okay, so this is domain ID and this is the relative ID. So domain ID will be same and these are the users under this domain ms.com. Administrator, guest, Bill, Jeff, Satya, S1, S2, S3, S4, F1, F2, F3, F4, Elon, ADC user. These users they have created in ms.com. So the domain ID will be same till here. And this relative ID, RID will be different, 500, 501, 502. And it is provided by which service, guys? It is provided by RID master to avoid the duplications. And it allocates pool of relative IDs to domain controller. So it will provide the pool of relative IDs to domain controller and domain controller will assign the RIDs to the objects from its pool. And guys, we have one more subdomain, what do you say? Sub role, PDC emulator. Okay, PDC stands for primary domain controller. So let us try to understand, guys, why it is saying primary domain controller here. So if you go back to Windows NT environment, in our older environment, the domain controller, we used to call this domain controller as PDC. And our additional domain controller was BDC, backup domain controller. So we used to use these terminologies for domain controller and additional domain controller. Nowadays we are saying it is domain controller and additional domain controller, but in Windows NT environment, it was PDC, primary domain controller, and our additional domain controller was backup domain controller. Okay, so let us say in your newer environment, this is your new environment where you have domain controller, not the additional domain ADC, sorry, PDC. In your latest environment, the primary server is called as domain controller, not PDC. And you have Windows NT devices or operating system in your network. And these Windows NT devices don't recognize domain controller. They need PDC. They need primary domain controller, but we don't have the primary domain controller. So this service, PDC emulator, it emulates as primary domain controller. It will act as a primary domain controller for Windows NT operating system. So it is emulating the functionality of primary domain controller and acts as PDC for Windows NT servers if you have Windows NT servers in your environment. Let us say you don't have Windows NT devices in your network. Then it is having some additional roles as well. Let us see the additional roles of this PDC emulator. It also updates the password from client to server. So when a user changes the password on a client machine, PDC updates the password to the server. Let us say on client 3, user 3 has changed the password. Previously it was 123, now it has changed to 235. So this password will be updated to the server using this PDC emulator. Okay, the passwords are updated by PDC emulator. And guys, if you remember, the Kerberos protocol. This Kerberos protocol is used to confirm the password with confirm the username and password only. So let us say we have created some username and passwords on the domain controller like ABC, PQR, and their passwords are 123. And on this user 1 or the client 4, this ABC wants to log on to this client. So this Kerberos protocol, it will go to the domain controller and it will check the username and password if it is available or not. So it will check the username and password. Kerberos protocol doesn't update the password to the domain controller. The password is updated by this PDC emulator. Okay, so PDC emulator updates the password to the server. This is the second task done by this PDC emulator. And the third task, let us try to understand. PDC emulator also synchronizes the time on all the domain controllers. So it synchronizes the time as well. So let us say this ms.com is having 10 a.m. So it will synchronize the time on all, to all the domains in your forest. This is the third task. And the fourth task, if a user changes the password on one domain, then attempts to log on from another domain may still have old information. Okay, let us try to understand. Let us say this domain mcsc.ms.com is having one user, m user, and its password was 123. Now it is changed to 235. So this user has changed its password and it tries to log on in sales.mysql.com. So guys, they are the part of same forest, so they can log on to any computer in any domain. So this M user wants to log on. This user belongs to mcsc.ms.com, but he wants to log on to a computer in sales.mysql.com. So he will go to this computer and he will type the username. He will enter the username like this: muser@mcsc.ms.com. Okay, so this PC doesn't know about the new password. He has changed the password and he tries to log on to the computer of sales.mysql.com and he enters the username and password. This PC doesn't know, or this domain doesn't know the new password. So instead of giving the error, so before giving the bad password error, it will forward the authentication request to PDC emulator. So what it will do, it will forward the request to this PDC emulator and it will check whether the password is changed or not. Okay, so if the password is changed, this PDC emulator will say that the password is changed and you can give the access to this user. Okay, so before giving a bad password error, it forwards the authentication request to PDC emulator to determine whether the password is actually valid. Okay guys, so this was about the PDC emulator. Now we'll see the fifth role, infrastructure master. What is the use of this infrastructure master? Infrastructure master maintains and updates the universal group membership information. Let us try to understand what is the meaning of this. Maintaining the updates the universal group membership. So for example, a user can access the printer of mcsc.ms.com from ms.com. So it is used for inter-domain operation. Okay, let us try to understand. So this ms.com is having one printer. Okay, it is in this domain, it is having one printer, and user from mcsc.ms.com, m user wants to print some documents. Okay, so he is in a different domain. He is in mcsc.ms.com and the printer is in a different domain. The printer is in ms.com. So he wants to print it. So he can print it. So who is allowing these two different objects from different domains to communicate? It is done by infrastructure master. So it is used for inter-domain operations. A user can access the printer of mcsc.ms.com from ms.com. So objects in domain referencing objects in other domain using SID. So how they are referencing the other objects using this SID. So as we have discussed, Active Directory is a Microsoft Server operating system role. So it is a role, and Active Directory is having sub roles: naming master, schema master, RID master, PDC emulator, infrastructure master, global catalog. These are the 6 sub roles of Active Directory. And the first 5 roles are called as FSMO roles. These first 5 roles are naming master, schema master, RID master, PDC emulator, infrastructure master. So these 5 roles are called as FSMO roles, and these 5 roles will be there only on the domain controller. So first 5 roles are combined and they are named as FSMO roles, and single master means these roles will be installed only on master server. These roles will be installed only on the domain controller. Okay, so if these 5 rows are there on any server, it will be domain controller. If these 5 rows are not there, which means it is not a domain controller. Okay, so flexible means rows can be transferred from DC to ADC. But why we are transferring the rows? Let us try to understand. So when do we transfer the FSMO rows from DC to ADC? This DC is having 5 rows, FSMO rows, and we can transfer them to ADC. But when do we transfer it? Let us try to understand. We transfer the FSMO rows during the maintenance. Okay, so when you want to do some maintenance, at that time, you will transfer the rows. For example, DC is configured on an old server. So this domain controller is configured on an old server. Okay, so this server is having some problem. It is having problems. Let us say this server is very slow, but it is not completely down. It is very slow. So the DC is configured on an old server and it is having some performance issues, and we need to replace this server. So we want to bring one new server. So to replace the server, this DC will be shut down. So when you shut down this DC, we will have the ADC. Okay, the user will be able to log on through this ADC, but we don't have DC in our network. So before removing this domain controller, okay, so before removing this domain controller from our network, what we will do, we will transfer the FSMO rows of this domain controller to ADC, and we'll make this ADC domain controller. Now this ADC is having all the 5 rows, all the FSMO rows. This ADC will become DC and this DC will become ADC, and we can remove this server now. So we can transfer FSMO rows from DC to ADC. ADC will become DC and DC will become ADC, and we can replace the old server. And we can shut down the ADC now, the current ADC. We can shut it down and we can add the new server and make this new server as ADC. Then we can transfer the rows from this DC to new ADC, and we can make this new server as domain controller. But why to transfer the rows from DC to ADC? Why can't we work with ADC? Okay, so ADC is there, right? This server is slow and we are removing this server, but we have ADC. The users will be able to log on using this ADC. What is the purpose of moving the FSMO rows? Let us try to understand. So guys, ADC works as a backup of domain controller. If this DC goes down, user can log in with ADC, but we can't create a new DC with ADC. Even ADC is having the same data. So with this ADC, guys, we can't create one more server. We can't create one more ADC. We can't create one more DC. Let us say we have removed this server. We have ADC, and ADC also goes down. This user won't be able to log on to the server because we could not create one additional domain controller or domain controller using this ADC. So we can create multiple ADCs from DC. That is why we are moving all the rows from DC to ADC, and this server will become DC. Now, what we can do, we can make ADCs from this server. So now guys, our requirement is to transfer the FSMO rows from domain controller from 10.0.0.1 to ADC, which is 10.0.0.2. And the server name of this domain controller is server-01, and the server name of this ADC is server-02. So we'll transfer the role from server 1 to server 2. So transfer of role is applicable when DC and ADC are working. So guys, we can transfer the role only when this DC is working. Okay, it is working, it is having some issues, but it is working. Okay, it is up. So when it is up, then only we can transfer the role. If it is not up, we can't transfer the roles. So guys, pre-transfer verifications, we'll do some verifications. The first verification is verify which is the primary server, which is the domain controller, and which is the backup server, which is ADC. So how will you verify? You will run this command. You will go to command prompt of each computer, each server. You will run this command net accounts. And so we run this command on 10.0.0.1, and you can see primary means this is the domain controller. Then we will go to 10.0.0.2 and we'll run this command net accounts, and it is backup. Okay, it is an additional domain controller. Backup means additional domain controller. Then we'll do the second verification. Verify if the DC and ADC are pinging or not. So we need to check the reachability between DC and ADC. Then only we can transfer the rows. If the reachability is not there, we can't transfer the rows. So we'll go to any server and we'll ping. Let us go to 10.0.0.1 and ping 10.0.0.2. So you should get the replies. And guys, third verification. Verify which server is having the FSMO rows. So we need to verify which server is having the FSMO rows. So how will you verify? You will run this command net dom query FSMO. So you will run this command on any server. You can run this command on domain controller. You can run this command on additional domain controller. You will get the same output. This command will tell you where is this FSMO rows installed. So it is installed on server 1. Schema master, domain, naming master, PDC, RID, infrastructure master. Okay. So we'll verify these three things first, then we'll transfer the rows. Let us go to the servers. So first we'll verify which server is the domain controller and which is the additional domain controller. We'll go to command prompt, net accounts, and this server 1 10.0.0.1 is our primary server. Okay, let me show you the IP address as well. .0.0.1 is our domain controller. We will go to server 2. We'll go to command prompt. So guys, just observe the names here, okay? We'll wait for a few seconds. Let us verify the IP address first. IP config. The IP address is 10.0.0.2. Then we'll run net accounts. And you can see 10.0.0.2 is our backup server, additional domain controller. Then we'll check the reachability. So we'll ping, we are at 10.0.0.2, we'll ping 10.0.0.1. It is pinging, the reachability is there, and let us see which server is having the FSMO roles. So you can run this command on ADC and DC. We'll run on both the servers. Okay, you will get the same output. Net DOM query FSMO. It is collecting the information. It will give you this output. Okay, you can see schema master, domain naming master, PDC, RID pool manager, infrastructure master. All of them are in server 1, server1.ms.com. If you run the same command on the domain control, you will get the same message. It is telling you where are these FSMO roles installed. So net domain query FSMO. So you can see FSMO roles are with server 1 because server 1 is the domain controller. We have seen it is a primary server. So it will have the 5 roles. Now guys, let us say this server 1 is having some issues. It is a very old server and the server is very slow and we want to replace this server. What we will do, we'll transfer these roles. Then only other server will become the domain controller. Let us see how to transfer the roles. So guys, to transfer the roles from domain controller to additional domain controller, we need to follow 2 steps. The first step is we need to connect DC with ADC. We will see how to connect the DC with ADC. Then we'll transfer the roles one by one. So all the 5 roles will not be transferred in one shot. You need to transfer them manually one by one. So what we will do, we'll log on to the domain controller. Then we'll open the command prompt. In the command prompt, we'll run this command, ntds util. Okay, you can see we are in the command prompt and we have run this command, ntds util. When you type this command, it will take you to ntds util mode. Under this ntds util mode, you will run this command roles. Once you run this roles command, it will take you, this roles will take you to FSMO maintenance mode. So this FSMO maintenance mode, it is very important mode. So under this FSMO maintenance mode, you will type this command, connections. When you type this connection commands, it will take you to server connections mode. Under this server connections mode, you will connect the domain controller with additional domain controller using this command, connect to server, then you will provide the server name. Okay, binding to server, and it is connected to server 2 now. So it is connected. This is our first step. First step is to connect the domain controller with additional domain controller. This is how you will connect them. After connecting, the servers, we need to transfer the FSMO rows. So FSMO rows will be transferred in this FSMO maintenance mode. So again, you need to go back to FSMO maintenance mode. How will you go back to FSMO maintenance mode? You will type quit. Okay, so you will type quit and it will take you to FSMO maintenance mode. In this FSMO maintenance mode, you will transfer the rows one by one. Let us see how will you transfer the rows one by one. What is the command? These are the commands. Okay, the first command is transfer naming master. The second command is after transferring the naming master role, you will transfer schema master using this command, transfer schema master, then transfer infrastructure master, transfer RID master, then transfer PDC. In PDC, you don't need to add master or emulator keyword. You will type only PDC, transfer PDC, then it will transfer the roles. So we must transfer the roles one by one, and roles can be transferred in any sequence. So this sequence is not important. You can transfer the roles in any sequence. Okay, so you will type this command. You are in the FSMO maintenance mode, then you will type this command, transfer naming master. So it will ask for the confirmation. You will click yes, then it will transfer the rows. Then you will type this command, transfer schema master, then you will click yes. Transfer infrastructure master, then you will click yes. Transfer RID master, then you will click yes. Then transfer PDC, okay, without any emulator or master keyword. So you will type this command, then you will click yes. After that, we'll verify. So post transfer verification, we'll go to 10.0.0.2 and we will run this net accounts command. You will see primary. It will become domain controller and DC will become ADC. And if you go to 10.0.0.1 and you will run this net accounts command, it will become backup. Now we can remove this domain controller, or we can remove this new ADC and we'll add the new server. And from this server, it is DC now. From this server, we can create the additional domain controllers. Then we'll verify using this net query FSMO command. You will see server 2 now. Server 2 is having all these 5 roles. Okay, guys, let us transfer them. So we need to follow 2 steps. The first step is to connect the current DC with current ADC. So you will go to command prompt and you will run this command, NTDS-UTIL. So we are in the NTDS util mode. Under this NTDS util mode, we will type roles command. Now we are in the FSMO maintenance mode. Under this FSMO maintenance mode, we will type connections. So we are in the server connections mode and we need to connect the server 1 with server 2. So you will type this command, connect to server. Then you will give the server name server 2. Connected to server 2. So it is connected. Now we need to transfer the rows. So to transfer the rows, we need to enter into FSMO maintenance mode. So how will you go back to FSMO maintenance mode? You will type this quit command. Now we are in the FSMO maintenance mode. Now we will transfer the rows one by one. Let us transfer the naming master first. So transfer naming master. Are you sure you want the role of naming master transferred to the server 2? Yes. Let us transfer the second role. Transfer schema master. Are you sure? Yes. Then transfer infrastructure master. Then we'll transfer RID master. Then we'll transfer PDC emulator. So we'll type only transfer PDC. So guys, the roles are transferred. Let us verify the things. Quit. Okay, so we are in server 1, okay, which was domain controller before. Now it should show the backup. Net accounts, and you can see it is showing that it is a backup server, not the domain controller. And let us verify the roles. Okay, net dom query FSMO. Now you can see all these 5 roles are with server 2. We'll go to server 2. Previously it was a backup server. If you see, it was a backup server. Now it should be a primary server. You can see it is a primary server. And schema master, domain naming master, PDC emulator, RID pool manager, infrastructure master, all these 5 roles are with server 2. It is the domain controller now. Okay, so let me change the name. And server 1 is our additional domain controller. So guys, we have transferred the rows from DC to ADC. Now this 10.0.0.2 is DC and 10.0.0.1 is our ADC. So to transfer the rows, this ADC must be alive, then only we can transfer the row. Let us say this domain controller goes down straight away. We didn't have the chance to transfer the rows. What will happen? We can't make this ADC to DC. Okay, so if this ADC goes down, this client won't be able to log on to their computers because we don't have any domain controller now. So how to fix this issue? So in this scenario, so guys, transfer of role is applicable when DC and ADC are working. If DC goes down, we can't transfer the FSMO roles. So how to troubleshoot this problem? We have a solution. The solution is cease of roles. Okay, let us try to understand what is this cease of roles. So we'll see transfer of role is having this problem. If this DC goes down, we can't transfer the roles. So we need to seize the roles now. So we can seize the roles. We can use the seize the roles option. We can convert the ADC to DC now. So we will convert this ADC to DC. In our current scenario, this is our ADC and this is our DC. Okay, let us say this DC goes down. So we can convert this ADC to DC. Okay, how will you convert it? By seizing the rows. So we can seize the rows and we can convert the ADC to DC. It will take up to 120 seconds. So when you seize any role, maximum it will take 120 seconds to seize one role. So approximately minimum it will take 90 seconds. Maximum it will take 120 seconds. Why it is taking 90 to 120 seconds? Let us say we want to seize naming master. So before seizing this naming master role, this ADC, what it will do, it will check whether this DC is available or not. Okay, so it will wait for 90 minutes. If it doesn't receive any response from DC, it will seize this naming master role. If it receives any response from the DC, this seizure will be failed. Okay, because we have DC, why we are seizing it? Okay, so if it doesn't receive any response, then it will seize the role. So that is why it will take some time. So it will take 90 seconds. If it receives any response from DC, the conversion will be failed. And it is very helpful in your working environment. It is very helpful in your interview as well. This concept, seize of role and transfer of roles. So guys, we'll do the pre-seize verification. We'll see which server is our domain controller, which server is our additional domain controller. So we'll go to, in our current scenario, if you go to 10.0.0.1, you will see backup. And if you go to 10.0.0.2, you will see the primary. And you will see all the roles in ADC we have already verified. 10.0.0.2 is having all the FSMO roles. Okay, seize of role is applicable when DC is down. So this seizure is applicable only if this domain controller down. If it is up, you can't seize the role. The seizure will be fair. And only ADC is working. Note, to perform this lab, shut down the DC. So what we will do, we shut down the DC. We will shut down this DC. Okay, in our lab, this is our DC now. So we'll shut down it. So seize the FSMO roles on ADC, that is 10.0.0.1 now, and convert it to DC. So again, the same steps we need to follow. We need to connect the server with ADC. Okay, so on the same server, we'll connect it. Okay, and seize the roles one by one. So let us see how to connect the server first. You will log on to ADC. This is our ADC, and you will log on to it. You will go to command prompt, then you will run the ntds util. Then you will go to roles, then connections. Under the connections, you will type this command: connect to server 01. Okay, you are on the same server, then you will type the same server name, server 01. It is connected. Then you will seize the rows one by one. So how to seize the rows? To seize the rows, we need to enter into FSMO mode again. So how will you enter into the FSMO mode? You will type quit. Then you will be in FSMO maintenance mode. Then you will seize the roles one by one. Seize naming master, seize schema master, seize infrastructure master, seize RID master, seize PDC. So we must seize the rows one by one. Roles can be seized in any sequence, but it will not seize the roles right away. It will take 90 seconds. It will check whether the DC is available or not. If it is not available, then only it will seize the role. So you will go to the command prompt and you will type seize naming master, then you will click yes. Seize schema master, you will get this window, click yes. Then seize infrastructure master, click yes. Seize RID master, click yes. So seize PDC, click yes. Then we'll do the post verification. We'll verify whether the server one is converted to DC or not. Okay, all right, guys. So let us verify it. So this is our current DC server 2 and we'll shut it down. Now we have only ADC. And from this ADC, we can't create the DC, we can't create the other ADCs. So we need to seize the role to make this server 1 DC. So it is down now. And let us verify the things first. We'll go to command prompt. Then net accounts. We need to give space here. And if you see, this is the backup server and we don't have the primary server. It is down. And let us verify the FSMO roles. Okay, the FSMO roles are with server 2 and server 2 is down. Now what we will do, we'll seize the roles. Seizing the roles means converting this ADC to DC. So how will you seize the role? Again, we need to connect to the server. So how will you connect to the server? You will enter this command, ntds util. So we are in ntds util mode, then we'll type this roles command. We are in FSMO maintenance mode. Under this FSMO maintenance mode, we will type connections. Then under this server connection modes, we'll connect to this server 1. Connect to server 0 1, not 0 2. 0 2 is down. So we'll connect with server 1 only. What happened? It is hanging. Okay, so binding to server 1, connected to server 1. It is connected. Now we need to seize the roles. We will seize the roles in maintenance mode. So how will you go back to maintenance mode? You will type quit. It will take you to FSMO maintenance mode. Then we'll seize naming master. Seize naming master. Are you sure? Yes. So attempting safe transfer of domain naming FSMO before seizure. So it is trying to contact the domain controller. So it will take 90 seconds. So naming master is seized. Let us seize the schema master. Yes. Okay, so schema master is also seized. Let us seize infrastructure master. Yes. Infrastructure master.
Sir, when we are transferring this, we can see some error over there. What is that, sir?
Which one?
When we are transferring, when we are giving this command, we can see some message here like LDAP extended error message.
Yeah, it is getting the error. It is not able to contact the domain controller. This is the error.
Okay.
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 Then what was the last rule? RID master. We need to transfer RID master, correct? Yeah, it is infrastructure master. So we need to transfer RID master. If you see here, it is saying that the current FSMO holder could not be contacted. This is the error. It is trying to contact the current domain controller and it is unable to contact because it is shut down. So it is giving this error. Now transfer the PDC. Sorry, seize the PDC. All right, guys. So all the rules are seized. Let us verify it has become domain controller or not. Now you can see it has become primary server, which means it has become the domain controller. Previously, it was a backup server. Previously, it was an additional domain controller. And let us verify the roles. Net dom, query, FSMO. So this server is having all the roles now. So it has become again the domain controller. And guys, let us say this server comes up. So it will become additional domain controller. It will not become domain controller again. Clear, guys? Any doubt in today's class? Guys, please confirm.
Yeah, clear, sir.
Clear, sir.
Okay, guys. So please practice these labs. They are very important labs. Okay, as a system administrator, you should know these things. And see you tomorrow. Take care.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome.